Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing this morning? Fantastic. It's nice to have a big full band up here again, isn't it? Nice. Lori's back from wherever you were. You were gone for like a month. Yes. And we have Kelly here with us this morning. Fantastic. And Beck's here with us. So we're excited. We're going to do some good stuff for you this morning. It's good to see everybody. Welcome to the Center of Unity. We are absolutely thrilled that you are here with us this morning. We are going to celebrate this wonderful Sunday. If you're joining us online, we want to say welcome to you as well. And if you would put a comment in there and let us know you're there with us this morning, we really would appreciate it. Did anybody get any rain this week? Anybody? I got a little at my house. It was a frog floater is what we call it. It was something. But it was really nice. We enjoyed the rain. It was like every yard in the neighborhood greened up instantly. So it was really cool. Love the weather. I think we're going to have some more this week. All right, enough of the weather report. Let's get started here, Larry. Let's do this song together.
Sounds great. Oh no, wait. I'm up here and I shouldn't be. So come on up, Phyllis.
I wondered what you were doing.
Well, we've got this new order of service that we're playing with, and I just... so
Dave,
go
I don't
right
mind
ahead.
the company.
No. I got to get up and dance in a minute.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Phyllis Lamford. I'm on the care team. Today's word is purpose. I pursue my purpose with passion. Over the course of my life, I have discovered what has kindled my passions, captivated my attention, and made me feel most alive. Oh, I can't do this like this. My passions lead me to discover my purpose, to which I choose to devote my time and my life. My highest spiritual purpose is to live from my divine nature, my divine gifts of love, life, and wisdom expressed uniquely through my passions, fulfilling me while demonstrating the truth of my being. I listen to the still small voice of spirit within to discern the best way to fulfill my purpose. I heed its call to learn, discover, and grow. It is never too early or too late to embark upon the journey of a lifetime. I am ready, willing, and more than able. From John 18:37, for this I was born, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth.
All right. We're going to do another one for you. This one we're going to stand up on. Everybody, y'all go ahead and get stood up. This one's kind of a hoedown, so if y'all start running through the audience there, I understand it. This one's by Hank Williams Sr. Here we go. Count us off. 1, 2, 1, 2. Woo! I saw the light. I saw the light. No more darkness, no more night. Now I'm so happy, no sorrow inside. Praise the Lord, I saw the light. I wandered so aimless, empty within. I wouldn't let my dear Savior in. Then Jesus came like a stranger in the night. Praise the Lord, I saw the light. I saw the light. I saw the light. No more darkness, no more night. Now I'm so happy, no sorrow inside. Praise the Lord, I saw the light. Go, Kelly! Woo! Just like a blind man, I wandered alone. Worries and fears I claimed for my own. Just like a blind man that God gave back his sight. Praise the Lord, I saw the light. I saw the light. I saw the light. And no more darkness, no more night. Now I'm so happy, no sorrow inside. Praise the Lord, I saw the light. Here we go. I was a fool to wander astray. Straight is the gate and narrow the way. Now I have traded the wrong for the right. Praise the Lord, I saw the light. I saw the light. I saw the light. There's no more darkness, no more night. Now I'm so happy, no sorrow inside. Praise the Lord, I saw the light. Praise the Lord, I saw the light. Woo! I saw the light.
There we go. There got some energy moving in the room. Yeah. Well, good morning once again. And good morning to those of you who are watching us via our live stream. We're so glad that you're here with us and glad that we get to be both together in this room and together connected by that very light with all of the people who join us, whether it's this morning or they watch us later when it's convenient. for their schedule. We're just grateful that we have this unique way to connect with and to support one another. You know, Jeff was mentioning after all the rains how green the grass was. What I really noticed today is our poor crepe myrtles are finally so happy that they are bursting with color. I mean, that's like the only color we've seen all summer long, just about. So I am just grateful that there is an abundance of beautiful pink around here, flowers, for our sights and for our awareness to know that there is lots of color in this world. I'm grateful today for our care team members who are serving and that we are now inviting you to come for one-on-one confidential prayer after the service for those who are here in person. And know that for those of you who are joining us online, you can go to centerofunity.org to our prayer requests section. Just click on prayer. And those prayer requests too, we take the ones that we have in our box, we take the ones that we receive through the website and hold those in that sacred space of knowing that God's right in the midst for 30 days. We also share them with Silent Unity, and they hold that energy with us also. So we hope that you will join with us and take advantage of this beautiful prayer energy. I'm going to slide through there if I can. And as we have our opening prayer today, just ask you to join with us in this energy of knowing that all of these prayer requests are being met in perfect and divine ways. God, we are so grateful for the healing that continues in each and every one of these lives, whether it's physical healing, emotional healing, spiritual healing. It is all the same in the energy, of God's divine love. We continue to hold Bill Winton and his family, as well as June Brookshire, in our prayers as they walk through the healing challenges. And we are grateful that your wisdom, your love, your wholeness walks this journey each step of the way with all of those who we pray for. And so it is, and so we allow it to be. Amen. Beautiful. Thank you, Bob. So for the past several weeks, we have been on a mission to discover how we can live a life of greater abundance, to live from our true potential, to unlock what we're calling the keys to the kingdom, allowing us to experience heaven on earth right here and right now. We began several weeks ago with that first key, which was commitment. You know, often in New Thought, we say that we are spiritual beings having this human experience. But paradoxically, it's also true that we are human beings having a spiritual experience. And commitment allows us, opens the path for us to have both in greater abundance. Commitment is the first key to having an expanded spiritual experience by giving more of your time to your own spiritual journey, more of your creative gifts to the world, and your treasure to places that really continue to support you in this spiritual experience. The second key, we focused on creating a vision for how we were called to be and do and experience life. It's more about the state of being that we want to have in our day-to-day life than about the things that we want to support us in that. But it's both. Because hopefully, as we have this greater sense of being, we naturally attract to us the things that support us in continuing to expand those spiritual experiences. We talked about creating a greater awareness, a new awareness, an expanded awareness of God's good in our lives and in the world. To recognize that sometimes it's our beliefs, our attitudes that sort of filter the way that we see life, the way that we engage with life. I talked about this window. When it's very dirty, our perception becomes much more clouded than when it's clear. And so we looked at just being aware of what our beliefs are, what our perceptions are, and to begin to embrace in a deeper way 7 spiritual truths that really give us a greater clarity in the way life operates. Last week, we started making room for the new. We were looking at the law of circulation and how that flows in and through our lives. And I challenged each of you to begin to release those things that no longer served you, that were occupying space. Because as we know, and we explored a little bit in greater depth, that the universe, as Aristotle observed, abhors a vacuum. So when things clear out of our lives, we create the space. And the way I look at it is for whatever vision we're holding, we open the space for that vision to come into our experience of life. I wonder how many of you have begun the process. If you're online, you can just give me a thumbs up because I'm curious to see. I cleaned out my master closet. Granted, I've only been in this house for 2.5 years, and it is amazing how much stuff found its way into every nook and cranny. And I now have 7 garbage bags full of things to circulate back out into. That required me trying on most things in my closet and then releasing. So it was a long process, but it's amazing how lighter I felt. It's amazing how much more freedom there seemed to be just by going through this releasing process. So I encourage you, if you haven't started yet, to go ahead and look around in your life and see what you might be able to release. Remember, we talked about if you haven't sat on it, touched it, used it, otherwise engaged with it, then it might be time to let it go. And if you're holding on tight just in case you might need it, that probably goes back to a belief that you might have inherited, perhaps even from your parents. I have parents that they didn't throw nothing away because they came out of the tail end of the Depression era, and you just didn't because you might need it. Rubber bands, used plastic baggies, whatever it was, they held on tight. We live in a world of abundance, so it's time, if it's not being used and loved, to put it back into circulation. And this law of circulation operates on more than just the physical plane. This flow also happens at the emotional level and the spiritual level. And so today, that's what we're going to explore, how we can begin to use these spiritual practices to what David Owen Ritz, the author of this Keys to the Kingdom class that I'm adopting for Sunday mornings, calls letting go of the past. Whenever we release and remove those blocks, we experience a greater flow. We know that from the outer world, and the same is true within us. So the key calls us to move from this objective, formed material level to our inner realm and take a look at what we might be holding on to there that is no longer serving us? Because for many of us, the past is not completely in the past. While the actual experience might have happened days or months or perhaps even years ago, the energy of that experience, the energy of that past, still is very much alive in the energy that we experience on a day-to-day level. It shows up, and we'll know we're still holding on to it as regret, as resentment, as judgment, as guilt, as anger, and fear. All of those things take up energy and space within us. And the more we're holding on to that, the less room there is for spirit to move and flow through us. If we don't release it, it comes with us into our future. It continues to travel this journey with us. So holding on to negative energy from the past is why life often presents us with situations that seem very familiar, with issues that continue to arise even though we thought we might have taken care of that. Have you ever found yourself saying, why does this keep happening to me? Or moving into a new relationship only to discover it is just like the different face, but very similar relationship challenges. Just as our bodies have this cosmic wisdom that knows how to heal the body, so do we have that same wisdom and that same opportunity to also know our own wholeness at the emotional and spiritual levels. And it will wisely guide us if we allow it to, if we ask, if we listen, if we engage with it. From the very beginning of this particular series, our goal, the very place that we want to be, is to experience that kingdom of heaven on earth, to become more aware and more engaged with the activity of the abundance of God in our lives, and also be able to see it more clearly in our world. And yet, it's impossible to come to this full realization of the presence of God in your daily life, in your daily affairs, when there is unhealed pain and resentment that we're holding on to also. The feeling of unconditional love, love of self, which is oftentimes one of the biggest blockages for many of us, love of life and love of others, is the way that we can most directly experience this presence of God, this presence of love in our life. And forgiveness, you knew this was coming, didn't you? There's just hardly not a series. We just looked at this a month ago in Living Untethered, but yet it is the very key that we have that allows us to move into greater flow. Forgiveness is the process of releasing the energy from the past that you might still be carrying with you. And when you forgive, you move that energy, that oftentimes negative energy, out of the way, and it makes room. It is that spaciousness then for a greater possibility to move in. Many people seek wholeness in some area of their life while ignoring the judgments and the resentments that they might be holding on to. They want the good to come, but they don't or aren't even aware of what might be blocking that path. And not surprisingly then, the healing that they're seeking is often elusive because you can't hold on to judgment and resentment and have love flowing. The two are not compatible together. The two cannot coexist in the same space. Resentment is the opposite of forgiveness. So, and think about it, it's resentment. It's resending over and over again those same feelings, embracing them over and over again for something that happened in the past. It's reliving rather than the releasing of past hurts, of past disappointments, of past upset that might have unfolded in our lives. You've heard it said before, I'm sure most of you, but it's a good analogy. Holding on to it is like taking poison and expecting the other person to die. The only person it's affecting is us. You know, there's been a few times where I've gone through a forgiveness process of something that I've been holding on to for many years, especially with my siblings. And a few times I went back and said, you know, I just want you to know I've just released all that. I've forgiven you, I've forgiven me for whatever role. And they're like, what? What? They don't have any recollection of that event. I'd been carrying it around for years and years and years, and they were totally unaffected because for them, it was an event that happened and then they moved on. Oftentimes, that's the case. And it's not really about getting them to make any atonement for what their part might have been. It's really focused on letting that energy go for ourselves, for our own divine flow and our own experience of God's love and good in our life. Forgiveness, as I mentioned last month, didn't really come with instructions. Jesus never said, this is how you do it. He just said, you got to do it. And you got to do it over and over and over again, 70 times 7. You got to do it as often and as deeply as it takes to make it happen. But I want to just share with you a couple of things about what forgiveness is and what forgiveness is not. Simply stated, forgiveness is just letting go, is releasing it. Now, oftentimes we might do this, but then we pick it right back up again. We say, I want to let this go. I don't want this to be of mine. And then as soon as something happens, we've now carried it. So it's about completely letting it go. It's choosing to release this energy that we've been holding on to around events that no longer affect our lives unless we allow them to. Forgiveness is not forgetting. Forgetting happens occasionally, but only after you've let it go. Forgiveness is not denying what happened or your feelings about it. It's not negating how difficult or hurtful that was in your life. In fact, it's just the opposite. The process of forgiveness begins when you can be completely honest and allow yourself to acknowledge that, but the trick is going back to the letting go part and not remaining stuck there. It's not about excusing what the other person did. It's not about saying it was okay. You're not condoning those hurtful behaviors by forgiving. You're just choosing, once again, to sort of release and release the hold that has had on your life. Forgiveness is unconditional, and it needs to be given freely as a gift to yourself and not traded for contrition. And here's how you'll know if that's the first stab you're doing as forgiveness. If you go up to the other person and just say, I've forgiven you, and they don't give you a response, oh, thank you so much, and you're mad because you didn't get the response back from them, it's not a free gift. You're doing it to go and get that other person to somehow make it okay for you. And it's different from reconciliation. When reconciliation happens, it's beautiful. When you can actually heal a past event with another person, it is a God moment. But that's not the goal in this. You can forgive whether or not the other person ever knows or is aware that you've let it go for yourself. Because that's ultimately why you do it. You do it to free up the energy and to open up to the possibilities that that energy's been blocking. So I often get asked the question, well, what do I have to forgive? What am I supposed to forgive? And as you embark upon this journey, the same intelligence within you, that same wisdom, intuition, guidance will show you if you ask. So it's a question to be asked internally. Most of us kind of have a top 10 list that we already know. But if we're uncertain of what's calling to be released at this moment, if you ask, it will come into your awareness. Now, you may not be excited or ready to embrace it, but it will, your own divine intelligence, your soul knows. You might want to take a look at certain areas. Oftentimes, there's some level of forgiveness with our parents, with our children, with a spouse, ex-spouse, perhaps even your own past behaviors and choices. It might be around something that happened in your job, in outer circumstances, with friendships. Every area of your life, you can just ask to see what arises. I'll tell you that most people find self-forgiveness the most difficult in all this. And it's usually the last that they want to tackle, but it is the most important aspect of forgiveness that you can engage in, because it is truly what will allow you to heal at the deepest level. And it allows you, when you've forgiven that, to be a more energetic attraction for love. It becomes like a magnet. When that energy of love is flowing through you, I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but when you first fall in love, I had a really long dry spell in my early single years. You know, there was nobody out there that I was that interested in dating, and nobody seemed to be all that interested in dating me. And then I met someone, and all of a sudden, you know, all that love energy was flowing, and out of the woodwork it seemed like. Now all of a sudden there's like 3 other men going, hey, I'm interested. You know, it's like, have you ever noticed that happens? When you get that love flowing, you all of a sudden draw to you what it is that you were perhaps blocking by holding on to the past. And probably the last question that most people grapple with is how? How do I do it? And I think that first, for me, in my many years of working with this, and I shared with you last month, is to be willing. Sometimes that's all it takes, is just a willingness to do it. And it's a willingness that has to come at an emotional level, not an intellectual level. There's been many times intellectually I've gone, yeah, I want that to go away. But my heart was not yet ready or willing to release it. So to be willing in your heart at that emotional level is the first key. There's been lots of books written about this, and this author also gives 4 stages that you go through in the forgiveness process. So I share those with you to see if some or more of those might support you in this forgiveness process. The first is discovery, and that's what we were just talking about, that inner awareness, that asking of, that allowing the soul, your own highest intelligence, to show you areas that might need to be let go. The second is to make a decision, and that's this willingness part. When you decide, I don't want to carry this anymore. I don't want this to be a part and color and block my good anymore. That's a powerful one right there. And then he suggests there's a process of changing your mind. And this is simply beginning to hold that it's possible that what others might have done or said that caused you injury was not about you, but it was about their own woundedness. It was about their own inability, their own history, their own blockages that they had going on. They didn't act simply to hurt you. You know, and as we get older, we can see that more, like with our parents. Our parents weren't out to hurt us. If they did things that we found hurtful, it was often because they were acting out of their own woundedness too. Now, it doesn't make it okay, but it helps us to understand that it wasn't intentional that we got wounded. It just was that cycle of unforgiveness, and we can be the ones to begin to break that cycle. And then finally, to move on. Once we can go through this, we are at a stronger place to be able to go throughout our days and see it from a different place, to give it greater meaning. You know, oftentimes, forgiveness gets us to that place where we can begin to see and even appreciate how we've grown spiritually as a result of having that experience. You know, in hindsight, we can also oftentimes look back and go, if it wasn't for that, I would not have been moved and spurred and pushed to have these kinds of experience. I wouldn't have experienced the great depths of healing that can come if I wouldn't have had these things that happened in my past. And so we're going to get started this morning. We're going to just spend some time in meditation and allow that wisdom within us to guide us to what may be calling most in our lives at this current time to be forgiven, that we can begin that process of letting go. So as you get comfortable where you are, perhaps you want to close your outer eyes just to allow your focus to be fully within. And today I would invite you to imagine that thinking part of you in the mind now slowly and gently moves and drops down into your heart space in the center of your chest. When our thoughts and our emotions act as one through the wisdom of our heart, we can see and know and experience our own divine wisdom in a deeper way. And as you breathe in and out, imagining that very energy of divine love moving into your entire being. And as you exhale, letting go of anything that's unlike that love. In that sacred inner space of your heart, whereas the scriptures tell us to go into this sacred room and close the door. Allow yourself to feel that energy of divine love as you. Allow that energy to bring clarity to your vision, to bring understanding to all of the events of your life, and to bring that high vibration of healing love to whatever arises in this moment. And in the quietness of your being, as we just spend a few moments of in the silence, just ask, what is calling right now for me to let go of, to release, to forgive? And simply allow it to arise from that highest place of your being. And if you can, and you may not be able to do this in this moment, imagine all of those feelings of hurt and anger are being gathered up in this energy of divine love into a bubble of divine love. And then on your next exhale, just simply seeing them being released and transformed. And know this is a place that you can return to whenever you're ready to let go, even deeper and broader. And as you bring your awareness back to this time and to this space, aware of your body once again and the seat that is supporting you, taking another deep breath, whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. So what I know has been true for me, and likely you will experience something similar, that it is a process that unfolds over time. Sometimes I've seen it like those onion layers. You know, I might forgive at one level, and then there it shows up again, and it calls for me to go a little deeper and a little deeper until I can finally completely let it go. And it's a lifelong habit rather than a one-time action. You know, one of the greatest gifts I got early on in my spiritual journey came out of the 4T prosperity class when we were instructed, once you had gone through this forgiveness process at all the different levels that were at least arising in each of us taking this class, is that we had a daily practice. So this is what I do as part of my going to bed time. I do a quick review of the day. Say, wow, where did I mess up? Where did others mess up? What am I still holding on to? And I try and let it go and at least forgive those things as often and as regularly as I can so that they don't become a part of my journey moving forward. Again, you know, Jesus tells us this is something that you have to do as often as it takes. That's what 70 times 70 means metaphysically, as much and as often as it takes. And the important thing when we're going through this forgiveness process is to understand that holding on to our emotional past has the same limiting effect as holding on to our possessions. It takes up space. It may not be the same tangible physical space we can see, but it takes up space within us. So unlocking these, allowing this forgiveness process in your life, gives us a greater awareness and an expanded flow of the activity and abundance of God in our life. And yet it's impossible to come to this full realization of the presence of God until we can release all of our unhealed pain. The feeling of unconditional love, love of self, love of life, love of others, is once again how you most directly experience God. And so your invitation this week is to be in that discovery mode and then be in that willingness mode to release anything and everything from your past that might be blocking, that might be an impediment to living this life of heaven on earth. And the best place that we can each begin is with ourselves. You can perform no greater act of love than to release your past mistakes and to forgive yourself. It opens the way. It allows the flow of your highest potential to be expressed. And that's what we're here for. We are here to be God's love, God's hands, God's eyes, God's words on this earth. And that's how we bring heaven into this earthly experience, day by day, moment by moment. So bless you as you allow this process to bring you the keys to the kingdom.
I already changed my mind about what I was going to sing just hearing that wonderful message. It's not the first time I heard your message. You know what? That other song has all those talking points that she's talking about. I play all over Texas. I sing in a lot of honky-tonks and deep bellum for 50 years. No problem. But trying to come up with one song for worship service gets me every time. A nice stranger asked me Friday if I was on Spotify. And, of course, I thought that was a blood thinner, some kind of heart medication. So if any of y'all are on Spotify, we are free of judgment, full of love. We'll help you with that. Somebody might be hooked on it. So there's a Guy Clark song. He's a Texas songwriter. And he said it was his favorite of the ones he wrote. About a gal who's made the decision to forgive herself for finding herself in a relationship. And she's ready to move on. Standing on the gone side of leaving, she found her thumb and she stuck it in the breeze. She'll take anything, going somewhere. She can lay it down and live the way she please. She's not sitting down and crying on her suitcase. She's got no second thoughts on the road. She's got feelings, need some repairing. And she did not give a darn if it showed. She ain't going nowhere, she's just leaving. She ain't going nowhere, she can't breathe in. And she ain't going home, that's for sure. The wind had a way with her hair, like a prisoner had a way with a file. She had a way of her own, and going is gonna take a little while. She ain't going nowhere, she's just leaving. She ain't going nowhere, she can't breathe in. And she ain't going home, that's for sure. She ain't going home, that's for sure. Good for her, right? Thanks, y'all.
Not in a minute, y'all. I don't know who's playing with Bob at the offertory, but that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to have an opportunity to share of our gifts and our tithes and our love offerings with this community. In just a few minutes, the ushers are going to invite you to come up row by row and share your gift, or you can use one of the little cards that you'll find in the pocket before you if you give electronically, or this isn't your Sunday to share, or just simply add your energy by folding your hand over and seeing that flow, that same abundant flow moving in and through center of unity, that as we know together that God's abundance is flowing through each of us and through this community so that we can do all that's ours to do for this, not only the community that we serve, but the greater community and the world. We are so grateful for the ways in which we receive our good. We know it comes to us through known and unknown channels, and we just open our minds and hearts to welcome it when it arrives into this community. So let us take the gifts that we hold in our hands and in our hearts and join and bless it together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, Father, Mother, God.
Well, good morning from someone else. I'm Barbara Luders. I'm also on the care team with Phyllis, and I'm going to do the welcome. If you're watching us for the first time, we're glad you have chosen to join us. We invite you to visit our website and fill out the Connect card. And if you're local, we invite you to visit in person. Now, Mary has exclamation points all over the place. Let me say that again. We invite you to visit in person. There you go. If you're visiting us in person for the first time, please complete a visitor card found in the pew pocket in front of you or at the visitor desk in the lobby, and drop it in the box at the back of the sanctuary on your way out. Now, as part of the strategic plan for our church, Board Vice President Matt Sweat was appointed Director of Membership and tasked with attracting and retaining members. Matt and a team consisting of Kristen Pope, Patty Danauer, Amy Hairston, and PJ Pugh. If you're here, why don't you all stand up? Matt, I know you're here. Anyway, they have instituted systems designed to welcome and appreciate people new to our community. One of the processes they have in place is the new ambassador program. Each Sunday, one of these individuals is available in the foyer to greet people new to our church and help them feel welcomed. They are also committed to following up with visitors to see if they can assist them in any way. We're grateful for this new program and for those who fill the ambassador positions. So to Matt, Kristen, Patty, Amy, and PJ, we love you, we bless you, we truly appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. Namaste.
Here's what's coming up at Center of Unity. Join us on Saturday, September 3rd for a powerful healing event as author and psychic medium Jennifer Farmer brings the spirit world closer to you. Tickets are $35 per person with advanced registration or $40 at the door. Visit the COU website or app for more info. Our nursery is growing and we need baby huggers. It's just one Sunday a month. Please see Debbie after church for more info. The 40th annual birthday banquet will be on Friday, October 14th at the church. Tickets are $35 each and available in the bookstore. We need lots of help, so please sign up at the Info Center or from the COU website or app to help. We're doing a live auction this year and ask that you start gathering auction-worthy items as soon as possible. Please see Mary Salerno for more details. Bring more peace and calmness into your life at our new monthly afternoon meditation series led by author and spiritual teacher Jennifer Farmer. In addition to eliminating stress, meditation opens the doorway to improved intuition, divine awareness, and a higher vibration. This is your chance to do something awesome for your mind, body, and spirit. Advance reservations are required. Visit the COU website or app for more info. There are multiple ways you can make a donation to Center of Unity. You can drop your donation off at the church, mail it to our P.O. Box, visit our website, or use the COU or Venmo app. Your continued support is greatly appreciated.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I think we're going to bring our kids in. Let's sing them in here, shall we, Bob? This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Boom, boom, boom. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Good morning, everybody. And today was our last Sunday of our Wet and Messy Sunday School, and they have had a great time, and we explored Ecclesiastes 3, and Nora and Doc said they wanted to share about that.
Today we painted.
Oh, and next week we'll start the Gospel according to Dr. Zeus.
You think he's a man of few words, but he is really not. He is very verbose. Why don't we all stand up together and do our peace song? With God
week letting go of anything us. But we go knowing our prayer for protection together. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Have a great week, everyone.